Lesson 7.8, Compare Mixed Number, Factors, and Products. In today's lesson, we're going to discuss how does the size of a product compare to the size of one factor when multiplying fractions greater than 1. What we're going to do is look at a couple examples, one being in the form of a numerical expression or equation, and the other one is going to be in a word problem. Remember, when we're talking about product means answer of a multiplication question. Factors mean what are the two numbers or fractions that I'm multiplying. So in this case, 5/6 and 2 1/5 both would be your factors. When I'm comparing to see if my factors will be larger or greater than, if my product is going to be larger or greater than one of my factors, I need to actually go ahead and multiply to solve. So in this case, I have 5/6 times 2 1/5. And in our previous lesson, we learned how to convert a mixed number and then multiply. So we're going to do that here. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I have 11/5. And I'm going to be multiplying it by 5/6. Now that I have two fractions, I'm going to go ahead and multiply it across. So I have 55 this way, and then my denominators equal 30. Since my numerator is larger than my denominator, I'm going to go ahead and simplify by division. And so 55 divided by 30. 30 can go into 55 one time, and that leaves me 25th over 30. I then need to simplify, and I know that 5 can go into both of these, and so my final answer would be 1 5/6. Now that I take this answer, my product, I'm looking, is it going to be greater than, less than, or equal to 2 1/5? And in this case, we're going to say it's greater than. Let's take a look at another example. This particular problem is a word problem, and there's a lot of information I want to pay attention to, so let's read it first. Jake wants to train for a road race. He plans to run 2 1/2 miles on the first day. On the second day, he plans to run 3/5 of the distance he runs on the first day. On the third day, he plans to run 1 2/5 of the distance he runs on the first day. Which distance is greater? The distance on day 2 when he runs 3/5 of 2 1/2 miles, or the distance on day 3 when he runs 1 2/5 of 2 1/2 miles? And so I can see that my key information is going to be near the end of my word problem. I'm comparing because it says which distance is greater. Day 2 when he runs this amount, or day 3 when he runs this amount. And so what I want to do is I have to solve for each one. I need to find that product. So I'm going to set up my equation. So I'm going to start with my first one, which is 3/5 of 2 1/2. I have a mixed number here, so I need to convert that. And so I have 5 halves. 3/5. I'm going to multiply across. I get 15 tenths. So on day 2, he has 15 tenths. If I simplify that, 5/10 is equal to 1 1/2. Great. So that is for day number 2. Let's go ahead and solve the next one. So I'm going to use a different color here. I'm going to change my mixed numbers. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. Now I'm going to multiply across 25, 6. I'm going to set up my division. So I can see that my final answer here is 4 4 1/6. So if I'm looking at this and I want to compare the two, I would say 1/2 of 2 1/2 is greater than 3/5 of 2 1/2. So that is how you would solve a word problem using multiple steps to compare. What you're going to do now is you're going to get your math notebook and we're going to copy down our test prep question for today. This is putting everything together that we've learned so far and applying it. You're going to copy down the question. So Addie's puppy weighs 1 2/3 times that it weighed when it was born. It weighed 1 1/3 pounds at birth. Which statement below is true? You're going to go ahead and set up your information. As you see, keywords circled, underlined, and you're going to select the statement that is correct. Once you have that copied down, continue to hit play. Okay, lastly, our essential question: how does the size of the product compare to the size of one factor when multiplying fractions greater than 1? In a summary of 2 to 3 sentences, you're going to explain how you would go about comparing two different fractions to the product and the factor. Use the steps that we discussed and how you would go about comparing. I look forward to discussing this with you in class.